So we've all been there, I think.
Yeah.
You get that really slick strategy deck. Looks great.
Mm-hmm. Those visuals, the charts, it all looks so clear.
Yeah. And you get that feeling, right? Like, okay,
Mm.
we've actually got a plan. Feels good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That sense of, okay, we've got a plan. It's definitely potent. A good deck does help communicate.
Sure, it serves a purpose
Yeah.
in communicating, yeah.
A direction, for sure.
But here's the thing we want to dig into.
Mm-hmm.
What if that deck, however slick it is, isn't really the strategy?
Mm-hmm.
What if the actual strategy, the real substance, is more about, well, the tough calls,
Yeah.
the trade-offs the team makes?
That's exactly the point. Sam Robertstad hits this hard in his piece. Product strategy isn't a deck.
Right, on the product leader's playbook.
Yeah. He argues that, the real strategy isn't in the PowerPoint, it's in the choices, especially what you decide not to do.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack Robertstad's ideas, try to look past the glossy surface of the presentation.
And get to the real drivers of product direction.
Exactly. We want to give you a kind of framework, maybe, for spotting what really matters and understanding why some paths get chosen and, crucially, why others get, well, ignored.
Because it's like Pascal said, right? It is much easier to write 10 volumes of philosophy than to put one principle into practice.
Oh, that's good. And it really hits home when you think about strategy decks versus actually doing the strategy.
Totally. The execution gap.
It's so true. These decks, they're often fantastic at storytelling, painting a picture, showing the aspiration.
Yeah, the big vision.
But they can sometimes skate over the really hard decisions, the nitty-gritty stuff that actually defines where you're going.
And there's a huge difference between, clarity of presentation and real clarity of direction.
Uh-huh. A deck can look crystal clear, but the team might still be fuzzy on the why behind it.
And Robertstad makes this point strongly. A strategy that doesn't say no to anything, that's not really a strategy.
Right. It's more like, I don't know, a wish list.
Pretty much. A wish list waiting for reality to bite. If you look at a plan and can't see what's explicitly off the table, you're probably just looking at goals, not strategy.
And that's the danger, isn't it? The deck feels right, it feels complete, everyone nods along in the meeting.
Alignment feels high.
But then you get into implementation, sprint planning, resource fights,
Yeah.
and suddenly the confusion starts because those core decisions weren't actually made.
Or weren't made clear. Have you seen that happen? Where the presentation is great, but then the wheels come off later.
Oh, absolutely. It's super common. The story sounds good. Everyone buys in conceptually.
Right.
But without the clear trade-offs spelled out, when push comes to shove day to day, people just default to their own priorities.
Exactly. Leads to drift, conflicting efforts.
So, okay, if the deck isn't the strategy, what is? Robertstad is pretty blunt about it.
Yeah, he says strategy isn't a document. It's a series of visible, irreversible decisions.
Visible, irreversible. I like that. It reframes it completely.
It does. It makes strategy an active thing, an ongoing process of choosing, not just a static PDF.
And real strategy answers the awkward questions, the ones that maybe get glossed over.
Yeah, the uncomfortable ones.
Right. Okay, we got limited time, limited people, big goals. What do we actually prioritize? And, just as important, what do we consciously ignore or put on the back burner?
Exactly. Or where are we going to double down, go deeper than anyone else to really differentiate, even if it means neglecting other areas that seem kind of important too.
Yeah. And what about short-term wins versus long-term momentum? Are we willing to skip some easy points now to build something more substantial later?
These aren't easy questions. The answers involve real trade-offs, sometimes painful ones.
It's those decisions, those clear commitments, this matters more than that really align a team, way more than just a mission statement.
For sure. Which kind of leads to the next problem.
Yeah.
How do you make those decisions consistently and transparently?
Right, because if it feels like priorities just shift randomly or there's no clear why.
Yeah, people get frustrated. Feels like spinning your wheels. Wasted effort.
So that's where Robertstad brings in his 3D strategy filter. It's a framework.
A way to evaluate things more consistently.
Yeah, to help teams look at all the potential bets, all the ideas flying around, and apply a common lens to sort the vital stuff from the appealing distractions.
And it's pretty straightforward, which is nice. 3 dimensions. The first D is desirability.
Okay, so does it solve a real user need, a genuine pain point?
Exactly. Is there solid proof people actually want this? Not just, internal excitement or a few anecdotes, real validated demand.
Got it. So, step 1, is it wanted? What's the second D?
Differentiation. Does this make us stand out? Is this something we can deliver in a way competitors can't just easily copy?
Oh, okay. Because if they can match it next quarter.
Right. Then it doesn't give you any real lasting advantage. It won't create leverage. Think about maybe a company not chasing a hot feature because their main rival already owns that space. That's prioritizing differentiation.
Makes sense. You need that unique angle. So desirability, differentiation. And the third.
Durability. Is this going to have legs? Will it create long-term value, build momentum over time? Or is it more like a quick fix, a trend that'll fade?
So something with compounding value versus a flash in the pan.
Precisely. Some things build on each other, create momentum. Others give you a short bump, but then poof.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this. Desirability grabs attention. Differentiation builds trust, makes you stand out.
Right. Earns loyalty.
And durability builds that long-term momentum, keeps you growing.
You got it. They work together. He uses an AI feature example, which is pretty timely.
Oh, yeah. How does that play out?
Well, an AI feature might seem super desirable right now, right? Everyone's talking about AI.
Totally. High demand or perceived demand, at least.
What? If all your competitors are also rushing out AI features using similar tech, does it really differentiate you?
Good point. Might just be table stakes soon.
And with the tech moving so fast, is it durable? Or will it need constant expensive updates just to keep pace, without ever really giving you an edge?
So the filter forces you to ask those harder questions beyond just, is it cool? Or do people want AI?
Exactly. It pushes the conversation deeper. It's not about finding some magical certainty strategy. It is always partly a bet.
Right, calculated risks.
But it is about making those bets, those decisions, with a clear shared framework for why you're making them.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, which then connects directly to the roadmap, right?
Perfectly. Because once you have that strategic clarity, sharpened by making choices using something like the 3D filter,
then the roadmap starts to look different.
It should. Because, and this is such a crucial point he makes, the roadmap is not the strategy, it's the result of it.
Say that again. The roadmap is the result of strategy, not the strategy itself.
Exactly. It's so easy to get this backwards, to think the roadmap is the plan, the ultimate truth.
Yeah, we managed it in the roadmap, check off the boxes.
And that's the trap. Focusing on shipping what's on the list, even if the strategic winds have shifted.
Yeah.
Features get built just because they were planned months ago.
Right. And then when things inevitably change, a competitor makes a move, the market shifts. The roadmap can suddenly feel brittle or totally wrong, especially if the why behind those items wasn't solid or shared.
A strong roadmap, though, the kind that flows from strategy. It shows those decisions.
How so?
It makes it clear what's being prioritized, what's deliberately on hold, maybe even what's been explicitly ruled out. You can see the trade-offs reflected.
Okay, like maybe seeing a big investment in one specific area, that differentiating feature we talked about.
Yeah. While maybe a bunch of smaller, less strategic requests are clearly marked as later or not doing, that shows strategic choices in action.
So if you look at your roadmap and it just feels like a huge backlog or completely chaotic, maybe constantly changing.
That's often a symptom, a sign that those clear shared strategic decisions are missing, or that there's no consistent filter, like the 3D one, being applied.
It becomes just.
Yeah.
Everything everyone wants dumped into one place.
Instead of a focused plan reflecting tough choices, which puts product managers in a tough spot sometimes.
Yeah, because often they own the roadmap,
Yeah.
the delivery, but maybe not the actual strategy behind it.
Right. They feel stuck executing a plan they didn't really shape.
And Robertstad points out the difference in the kinds of questions people ask. Tactical versus strategic.
The tactical PM is maybe asking, okay, what features do we build next? What's feasible for Q3?
Which are necessary questions, but...
But the strategic leader is asking bigger questions, like, what are we really trying to achieve here as a business? And what hard trade-offs are we willing to make to get there?
That's a big shift in thinking.
It is. It's moving from just managing a list
to seeing the roadmap as a reflection of your strategic bets, your choices.
And it's about building with purpose, beyond just reacting to the latest user request. It's about creating clarity, not just chasing consensus.
So wrapping this idea up, strategy isn't the deck. It isn't even just the roadmap.
It's that pattern of decisions over time. That's what Robertstad emphasizes, consistent choices.
And the goal for product leaders is to make those decisions visible, make them defensible.
And make them durable, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard.
So this brings us to some questions for you, the listener, to maybe reflect on. Things Robertstad suggests asking yourself or your team?
Yeah, like look at your current roadmap. Which items on there can you clearly trace back to a specific strategic decision? Can you explain that why?
Good one. And where are you maybe prioritizing stuff without a clear shared filter? Is it just based on gut feel or who shouted loudest?
And try applying that 3D filter. Are there features that seem really desirable but maybe honestly lack differentiation or long-term durability?
Ooh, that could be revealing. And maybe the big one. Are you actively managing your roadmap based on strategy?
Or does it feel like the roadmap is kind of managing you, dictating your actions?
Lots to think about there.
Definitely. So, just to kind of wrap up our deep dive here, the main takeaway is that real product strategy, it isn't about having the slickest deck.
Right. It's about the hard graft of making tough, visible choices.
And using frameworks like that 3D filter to consistently guide those choices.
When remembering that the roadmap, it flows from those choices. It's the output, not the input.
Exactly. So, maybe a final thought to leave you with. Start noticing the invisible strategy behind the products you use every day.
What do you mean by invisible?
Well, think about what those products don't do. What features haven't they built? What paths have they clearly decided not to take?
Ah, the strategy of omission. What they said no to.
Precisely. Understanding what companies implicitly decide not to pursue can tell you a lot about their real strategy, and thinking about that might just change how you approach your own work.
That's a great lens. What are they not doing and why? Definitely something to mull over. We hope this gives you some useful ways to think about strategy in your own context. Maybe take these questions back to your team.
Yeah, spark some conversations, see where it leads.